What if behind the glamorous skyline of modern Asia, there lies a world of sewage, sweat, and survival? In this documentary, we infiltrate the underbelly of Bangladesh, one of the most densely populated and underreported nations on Earth. Children dig through toxic landfills with bare hands. Men dive into human waste without masks. Women trapped in legal brothels survive on pennies and pills. You'll hear the deafening sound of overcrowded trains, smell the stench of rotting garbage, and witness lives that cling to hope in the most hopeless places. This isn't just about poverty. It's about a hidden system that feeds global wealth. Stay with us as we expose the price others pay for the world we live in. Number 1, the hidden picture. You've probably seen those viral images of jam-packed trains in India, hundreds of people clinging to the sides, crouched on the roof, defying gravity and logic. Now imagine something even more chaotic, more desperate. Welcome to Bangladesh, where survival doesn't just require effort, it demands risk every single day. Here, millions of people aren't just working to make a living. They're fighting to stay alive, on the roof of speeding trains, inside pitch-black sewers, among toxic garbage piles, and even within the dim corridors of legalized brothels. In this corner of the world, danger isn't an accident. It's a daily routine. Let that sink in. Can you imagine a country where the simple act of existing means dancing with death every sunrise? In Bangladesh, that's not a metaphor. It's reality. Despite being one of the smallest countries in South Asia, roughly the size of the state of Illinois, Bangladesh is home to more than 170 million people. That's nearly 1,200 people per square kilometer, making it one of the most densely populated countries on the planet. With limited resources and overwhelming pressure on its infrastructure, this nation has become a pressure cooker of poverty, overpopulation, and brutal inequality. But this is not just another story of a developing country struggling in silence. This is an unfiltered look into the shadows of our global economy, a place where the poor are not only overlooked, they're essential to the wealth of others. In this episode, we take you deeper than you've ever gone, past the glossy headlines and travel vlogs, into the railways, the slums, the factories, the underground, into lives hanging by a thread, sometimes literally. Because what happens in Bangladesh doesn't stay in Bangladesh, it fuels the world. Tramsey. Number 2, harsh ways to survive. Let's begin with something most of us never think twice about: transportation. In many parts of the world, a train ride is a simple experience. Buy a ticket, take a seat, arrive safely. In Bangladesh, it can be a brush with death. Here, trains don't carry passengers. They carry desperation. Hundreds of men, women, and even small children cling to the sides of trains as they roar through the countryside. Some dangle from open doors, others lie flat on rooftops, inches from deadly power lines. They're not thrill seekers. They're just trying to get home. The railway system is a crumbling relic of British colonial rule, and it shows. Most tracks are outdated. Only around 40% of the railways are electrified. Derailments are common, delays are daily. And overcrowding? It's constant. For the poor, there are no other options. Buses are too expensive, flights are impossible. The train is all they have. And then comes aid. During this holiday, the country moves. Millions attempt to return to their villages at once. The platforms turn into battlegrounds. People push, shout, climb, and pray they don't get trampled. Those who fail to find a place inside the train, they improvise. They climb the roof. They wedge between carriages. They ride on couplers, dangerously close to the rails. According to the Bangladesh Railway Authority, close to 200 people die every year from train-related accidents, many of them during these chaotic migration days. And yet, for many, the risk is worth it. Because behind the journey is something deeper: the longing for family, the only holiday meal of the year, or the desperate need to leave behind the crushing cost of urban life, even for a moment. But let's go deeper, literally. Beneath the streets of Dhaka lies another Bangladesh, a darker one, a dirtier one, a deadlier one. In this world, Men crawl into sewage lines with nothing but their bare hands. No gloves, no masks, no oxygen tanks. They wade through human waste to unclog pipes choked by decades of neglect. These are the sewer divers, modern-day untouchables. Their job is considered one of the most dangerous in the world, but it pays less than 10 United States dollars a day. The World Health Organization reported in early 2025 that more than 80% of these men suffer from chronic illnesses: liver failure, tuberculosis, severe skin infections. Their lungs wheeze from chemical exposure. Their eyes sting. Many die young. Very few are insured. Most receive no health care at all. I met a man named Karim. He dives 6 days a week. Not because he wants to, because he has 3 children. One of them wants to become a teacher. I go into hell, he told me, so she doesn't have to. Above ground, another battle is unfolding, this one in the garbage. At the Matwale landfill, Dhaka's largest dumping site, the poor dig through rot to survive. The smell hits you before you arrive. Burned plastic, spoiled food, raw sewage. Swarms of flies coat your skin. Giant rats skitter underfoot. Children run barefoot through it all, picking through waste with metal hooks. They're searching for plastic, wire, broken electronics, anything they can sell. Some of these children are as young as 5. According to Save the Children, over 25% of the people who work in landfills like Matwale are children. Many of them earn between 1 and 2 United States dollars per day. That's not enough for a full meal. And the risks? Endless. Sharp metal cuts, infections from toxic water, long-term exposure to chemicals that damage their lungs and brains. One 12-year-old girl told us she used to dream of being a doctor. Now she just dreams of clean water. From the trash, we shift to textiles. The garment industry is the engine of Bangladesh's economy. It exports more than 50 billion United States dollars worth of clothing each year. Western brands love Bangladesh. Cheap labor, fast turnaround, no questions asked. But inside the factories, the truth is unbearable. Women and teenagers work 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. The buildings are sweltering. The air is thick with chemical fumes. Windows are sealed shut to prevent theft. Bathroom breaks are timed. Talking is discouraged. Smiling is rare. All this for an average of 70 to 100 United States dollars a month. That barely covers food. Rent is another battle. Medicine, a luxury. Education, a distant dream. After the Rana Plaza collapse in 2013, when more than 1,100 people died, the world promised change. And yes, some factories were improved, but most were not. Inspections are inconsistent, unions are silenced, and the global demand for cheap fashion has only increased. We wear the clothes, they bear the weight. And finally, there is a place that's supposed to be legal, but feels like anything but: the brothels. Prostitution has been legal in Bangladesh since the year 2000, but in reality, it's a system built on poverty, addiction, and coercion. Most women here were never given a choice. Many were sold as children, some as young as 12. Others were tricked, trafficked, or abandoned. Inside the brothels, rooms are tiny, hot, and overcrowded. Women sleep beside the same beds they work on. They are often abused, rarely protected, and usually forced to take drugs. A 2024 report by Human Rights Watch found that many brothel owners intentionally get girls addicted to meth or heroin. Why? Because it makes them easier to control. Clients pay between 2 and 10 United States dollars per visit. The women receive only a fraction of that. The rest goes to pimps, landlords, and guards. Escape is nearly impossible. Shame, addiction, and lack of alternatives keep them locked inside, sometimes for life. They are called legal workers, but the law does not protect them. It forgets them. So here we are, standing at the edge of a truth most people will never see. From the steel roofs of moving trains, to the black waters of city drains, from the burning piles of garbage, to the silent hallways of factories, from the red lights of brothels, to the blank stares of children. This isn't just poverty, It's survival in its rawest, cruelest form. And the most heartbreaking part? These people don't want our pity. They want a chance. A chance to live without choosing between dignity and dinner. A chance to raise their kids without risking their lives. A chance to be seen. A chance to matter. Number 3, the roots of inequality. Let's break this down. Poverty in Bangladesh is not just about low wages or unemployment. It's the result of a perfect storm, a toxic blend of history, geography, demography, and economic imbalance. First, the colonial wounds that never healed. For nearly 2 centuries, Bangladesh was ruled by the British Empire, absorbed into colonial India as part of Bengal. And like most colonial ventures, it wasn't about building the nation. It was about extracting from it. The British drained natural resources, exploited the fertile land for cash crops, and pushed millions into famine. One of the most horrifying examples was the Bengal famine of 1943, which killed an estimated 3 million people. Historians widely agree this wasn't a natural disaster. It was a man-made tragedy, aggravated by British policies that diverted food supplies for military use during World War II. Then, in 1947, the British left. But they didn't leave Bangladesh with peace. Instead, the region was divided. Bangladesh became East Pakistan, separated from West Pakistan by over 1,000 miles of Indian territory. And for the next 24 years, East Pakistan was treated like a second-class colony, again. Despite making up the majority of the population, it received far less funding, fewer jobs, and almost no political representation. When the people finally rose up in 1971, demanding independence, the government of West Pakistan responded with brutality. The liberation war that followed claimed the lives of over 3 million people and displaced nearly 10 million more. When Bangladesh finally gained its freedom, it was in ruins. No infrastructure, no money, and no international support. That's how the country started, bleeding and broken. Second, geography, the blessing that became a curse. Geographically, Bangladesh is a country born from rivers. It sits in the delta where 3 of Asia's most powerful rivers, the Ganges, the Brahmaputra, and the Meghna, converge. This makes the land incredibly fertile, yes, but it also makes it one of the most disaster-prone countries on Earth. Every year, floods swallow crops, homes, and entire villages. Cyclones tear through coastal areas. River erosion wipes out farmland overnight, and now, climate change is making everything worse. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees reported in 2025 that over 7 million Bangladeshis lose their homes each year due to climate-related disasters, rising seas, shifting riverbanks, saltwater intrusion. In the coastal district of Satkhira, families who once farmed rice are now forced to farm shrimp because the soil has turned salty from the ocean pushing inland. This isn't just bad luck. It's a slow-moving emergency, and for the poorest, there's no escape, only relocation, again and again. Third, the crushing weight of overpopulation. Now let's talk numbers. Bangladesh has a total land area of about 147,000 square kilometers. That's roughly the size of the US state of Illinois. But here's the catch. More than 170 million people live there. That makes it one of the most densely populated countries in the world, over 1,200 people per square kilometer. To put it simply, there is not enough land, not enough homes, not enough clean water, not enough air. This level of population pressure stretches every system to the breaking point. In cities like Dhaka, traffic jams last for hours. Schools run double or even triple shifts because there aren't enough classrooms. Hospitals are overcrowded. And slums? They keep growing, swallowing space faster than the government can plan. For many, it's like trying to build a house on a sinking raft, just to stay afloat. Fourth, a fragile economy that depends on others. And finally, we come to the economy. Bangladesh has seen economic growth over the past decade. Yes, that's true. But that growth is heavily dependent on 2 main sectors: the garment industry and labor migration. The ready-made garment industry alone brings in over 50 billion United States dollars a year, making Bangladesh the second largest exporter of clothing in the world, just behind China. But as we explored earlier, this success comes at a cost: low wages, unsafe working conditions, and relentless exploitation. Then there's the millions of Bangladeshi workers, mostly men, who leave the country each year to work in places like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Malaysia. They work in construction, cleaning, caregiving, often under dangerous and unfair conditions. They send money home to their families, and that money, called remittances, is a lifeline for the economy. But here's the problem. When your economy depends so heavily on other countries' demand, it becomes extremely vulnerable. One global recession, one factory fire, one border shutdown, and suddenly, millions of families are left with nothing. Worse still, public spending inside Bangladesh doesn't keep up. Investment in healthcare, education, social protection, it's low. Corruption is high. According to Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index for 2024, Bangladesh ranks among the bottom 50 globally. So what you get is a country that works hard, but struggles to climb. A country growing fast, but leaving its poorest behind. And that's the root of it all. Not just a lack of money, but a legacy of exploitation, a land at war with nature, a population bursting at the seams, and a fragile economy designed to serve others before its own. And in the middle of all that, ordinary people, just trying to live another day. Number 4, efforts and limits. Now, to be fair, it's not like no one is trying. The government of Bangladesh, along with international partners like the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the Asian Development Bank, has been pouring billions into programs designed to lift people out of poverty. They've rolled out policies to increase the minimum wage for garment workers. They've introduced low-cost housing schemes for urban poor communities. And they've expanded access to education, especially for girls, with new schools and scholarship initiatives popping up in rural districts. In 2024 alone, over 5 million school meals were distributed through education-based welfare programs, meant to keep kids in class and off the streets. Foreign aid, too, plays a huge role. Bangladesh is among the top 10 recipients of international development assistance, receiving nearly 7 billion United States dollars in official aid last year. A significant portion of that is earmarked for climate adaptation, healthcare, and infrastructure. So yes, on paper it looks promising. There are efforts, there is money. But here's the problem. Money alone doesn't solve corruption. Much of that aid trickles and then vanishes. Projects get stalled, budgets get siphoned off, promises get lost in bureaucracy. Transparency International's latest index in 2025 still ranks Bangladesh below 140 out of 180 countries in corruption control. And the people these programs are supposed to help? Most of them never even see the benefits. I met a woman named Shapla in a slum just outside Dhaka. She'd heard about the subsidized housing plan. She'd even applied, twice. But the application process was a maze of paperwork, bribes, and dead ends. She still lives under a plastic tarp with her 2 kids, next to an open sewer. The help, she told me, never comes to us. It's always somewhere else. And she's not alone. Despite efforts to improve the minimum wage, the real cost of living has outpaced earnings. A factory worker might now make around 100 United States dollars per month. But food prices have surged, especially after global supply shocks in 2023. A basic food basket, rice, lentils, vegetables, and cooking oil, now costs nearly $80 per month for a family of 4. That leaves little for rent, medicine, or school fees. Education reforms, too, face challenges. In rural areas, some classrooms have no teachers. In urban slums, kids drop out not because they want to, but because they have to work. You can't learn math when your stomach is empty. So yes, there are policies. There are speeches. There are headlines about progress. But for most people living on the margins, these efforts feel like putting a tiny bandage on a deep, bleeding wound. Because when the system itself is cracked, patching it from the outside rarely works. And when the poor are only remembered during elections or disasters, it's not empowerment. It's survival on borrowed time. Bangladesh. To some, that name may simply evoke images of poverty, overcrowded cities, or devastating floods. But if you've stayed with us through this journey, you now know. It is so much more than that. Bangladesh is not just a poor country. It is one of the clearest, rawest reflections of global injustice. A place where the very people who hold up the modern world, its trains, its clothes, its labor, are themselves struggling to survive in silence. Everywhere we turned, we found stories of unshakable human strength, not because people here have more, but because they endure with less. A man who dives into a sewer every day just so his daughter can finish school. A child who risks disease digging through trash just to earn enough for a bowl of rice. A factory worker sewing clothes for Western brands she'll never afford to wear. A teenage girl locked in a brothel, clinging to a hope she barely remembers. These are not isolated tragedies. They are symptoms of a system, a global one, where profit so often comes before people. And the truth is, we are all connected to it. The low-cost clothes we wear, the fast shipping we enjoy, the cheap products we consume, they come from somewhere. And more often than not, they come from someone. Someone who may have no choice but to trade safety for survival, dignity for a day's pay. And yet, these people remain invisible. Why? Because they live in the margins, literally and figuratively. They work in the dark, beneath the streets, on the roofs of trains, behind the locked gates of factories and brothels, out of sight, out of mind. But we've seen them now, and once you've seen them, you can't unsee them. So what do we do with that knowledge? Well, we don't pretend we can fix everything with a single video. But what we can do is look closer, think harder, choose more consciously, ask questions, use our voice, and most importantly, see people who are so often unseen. We believe that storytelling has the power to build bridges across oceans, across poverty lines, across borders of privilege. We don't tell these stories for pity. We tell them for perspective, for compassion, for action. Because at the heart of every travel documentary we make here at NVL Travel Documentary is not just a place, it's a person. A person who deserves to be heard. A person whose life matters, even if their story never made the news. A person whose struggles are not their problem, but part of our world. So before you click away, ask yourself, that $5 t-shirt I bought last week, who made it and how were they treated? That food delivered in under 15 minutes, whose hands packed it and at what cost? Can we imagine a world where no one has to risk their life just to afford dinner? Because maybe, just maybe, awareness is the first step towards something better. If this journey opened your eyes, even just a little, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts or stories. What struck you most? What should the world see next? And if you believe these stories matter, if you believe the truth behind the postcard deserves a place on your screen, then consider subscribing to NVL Travel Documentary. Every view, every like, every voice added to this conversation helps bring more light into the shadows. Thank you for walking with us. Until the next journey, stay curious, stay compassionate, and never stop looking deeper.